Today, we're going to dive into a concept from the Arabic tradition that might just be the missing piece in your communication puzzle. It's a really powerful idea called Balaghaat, and it's all about the art of true, effective eloquence.
You ever been there? You're in a situation. You know you're right, you've got all your facts lined up, but your message just doesn't land. It falls completely flat, or even worse, it backfires. It's so frustrating, and it happens to all of us.
Well, it turns out there's a really sophisticated way of thinking about why that happens. And it suggests that being correct is only half the battle. The other half, the part that really matters, is being effective.
And this brings us right to the core idea, balagha. At its heart, it's the art of matching your words to the situation perfectly. It's this deep understanding that what you say can never be separated from how, when, and to whom you say it.
So let's break this down a bit. Balagha actually builds on top of another concept, something called fasaha, which basically means fluency. Think of it like this. Fluency is about being clear, but eloquence is about being clear and being perfectly appropriate for that specific moment.
So let's really dig into this idea that powerful communication is so much more than just having perfect grammar.
And here's the golden rule, the thing you really need to remember. You absolutely cannot be eloquent if you're not fluent first. But, and this is the key, just being fluent doesn't automatically make you eloquent. That takes something extra.
So before we can even dream of building up to eloquence, we have to understand its foundation. And that foundation is fasaha, or fluency.
Fasaha is the baseline. It's the price of entry for good communication. It just means your speech is easy to understand, it flows well, and you're not making any major grammatical mistakes. You can think of it as the solid ground you need to stand on before you can build anything else.
So what messes this fluency up? Well, think about sentences that are a total tongue twister, or using a bunch of jargon no one gets, or a sentence structure that's so confusing your listener just gets lost. If people have to struggle just to figure out what you're saying, eloquence is completely off the table.
All right, so you've got that clear, fluent foundation down. Now for the magic. How do we make that jump to real eloquence? This is where Balaghaat comes in. It is all about matching your words to the moment.
You know, the whole thing really boils down to a pretty simple formula. Fluency plus a perfect match with the situation equals eloquence. The secret ingredient isn't just using bigger words. It's about situational awareness. It's about being able to read the room.
And what's so great about this is that it's not just some abstract theory. It's a practical, three-step process you can actually use. Okay, step 1. Identify the situation. What's going on here? Is your audience skeptical? Are they grieving? Are they excited? Step 2. Figure out what that situation requires. Does it need hard facts and figures, or does it need gentle reassurance? And finally, step 3. You consciously match your words to meet that specific need.
Now, I know this might still sound a little bit abstract, so let's walk through a really concrete example that makes this whole thing crystal clear.
Let's use a classic example. Imagine you're talking to someone who is in firm denial about something. The situation, the al-hal, is denial. Now, what does denial require? It requires emphasis. So if you just state a fact, Muhammad is a messenger, that's fluent, it's correct, but it's not going to break through that wall of denial. It's not eloquent. But the eloquent response adds layers of confirmation. Indeed, Muhammad is truly the messenger of God. You can feel that extra weight, right? That's balagha in action.
And this whole idea is just brilliantly summed up in a timeless Arabic proverb, likuli makamin makal, and means every situation has its own appropriate speech. It's such a powerful reminder to always adapt.
So the big question is, how do we get better at this? I mean, how can we actually start developing this skill in our own lives?
Well, the tradition is very clear about this. You can't learn eloquence just by reading a textbook. It's a skill, a malaka, that you have to build through practice, just like learning to play an instrument or getting good at a sport. It comes from deep immersion and doing it over and over, not from memorizing a list of rules.
So how do you practice? It comes down to 3 key habits. First, you have to absorb. Read and listen to people who you find truly eloquent. Just immerse yourself in it. Second, you have to create. Constantly practice, every time you speak, every time you write. And third, you have to analyze. Don't just listen to great speakers. Break down why they're so effective and start borrowing from their playbook.
So I'll leave you with this. The next time you're about to speak, or before you hit send on that email or that text, just pause for a second. Ask yourself the central question of balagha. What does this moment ask of me? The answer to that question, well, that's where eloquence begins.